Welcome back to the United Pubcast. Manchester United 3, Lens 1. Very good to see football back at Old Trafford, live football Saturday night. Primetime football here in Sydney. It was a 9:45 kickoff, so here we are. First, a little bit before midnight on a Saturday night, so please do leave a like if you are happy to see Manchester United back out at Old Trafford, and Larry and I giving you some live content. But look, a lot to discuss, Larry. Pre-match, during match, and now I'm sure there'll be a little bit of post-match fallout as well. But ultimately, 1 week out from the Premier League, a lot of questions in regards to what we did see and what we will continue to see most likely. But all in all, I'm happy where we are. A lot of problems, a lot of concerns, a lot of issues to discuss. But all things considered, I'm pretty happy with what I saw.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Really good performance, positive performance. United pressing. That's the most noticeable thing. Obviously, we'll get into all of it. But look, all in all, really happy with the performance. In terms of what we're doing with the ball, the way we set up defensively, United are hard to score against, and they're creating lots of chances. Obviously, clearly lacking in terms of goals, which obviously came in the second half, but hopefully the young boy who we're going to talk about in a moment might solve some of those issues.
Look, we'll start pre-match. We'll start on Hojlund and sort of what that means, what the unveiling was like, and then we'll get into the game and the start with Onana, and then obviously the much better second half. But we'll start on Rasmus Hojlund. Now, I'm saying this is someone who's never seen him play 90 minutes. I'm sure I've done as much YouTube scouting as everyone else probably, but I'm no expert on Rasmus Hojlund. My God, put Rasmus Hojlund up front. Just a striker. Anyone, Harry Kane, anyone, a fit Anthony Martial. We just lacked a striker, I felt. Now, ultimately, we scored 3 goals, so we won the game, and all is well in the world. But it just felt, I thought everyone individually in that first half was good, but it was all let down collectively with not having that number 9. That wasn't a criticism of Marcus Rashford or if Jadon Sancho in pre-season was playing in the false 9. I just felt everyone was individual, and it was just falling down because there was no striker. Now, our striker was unveiled on the pitch. Unfortunately, potentially looks like he has a bit of an injury, so when he's going to be fit and available, I'm not sure. He has passed his medical, but Rasmus Hojlund doesn't look like he'll be available for that first game against Wolves. So I'm just thinking, I don't know anything about Rasmus Hojlund besides he's Danish. He's got a big left foot. He's strong. He's fast. He's got blonde hair. I'm just looking forward to seeing him play there simply because he is a striker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he improves that, and what he is good at is back to goal play. He can play as a focal point, and that's the key. And you're right. Like, obviously, you look at the second half, Marcus Rashford scores 1 goal technically. Casemiro comedically gets in the way, but I mean, look, I think Rashford would have scored it nonetheless. Rashford reminds me of. This might sound lazy, so please forgive me, but Rashford reminds me of what Ronaldo kind of looks like when Ronaldo played up front. He can score goals because he's a good finisher, but he's not a natural number 9. He doesn't bring others into play when he plays there. At times in that second half, he tends to drift. Rashford plays like a winger does. He follows where the ball goes. When the ball's on the right, Rashford went to the right. When the ball's on the left, you want that focal point just stay in that 6-yard box. And unfortunately, he didn't do that, and because he's not a number 9. So obviously, and again, we're going to talk about another brilliant young player, which is a positive and a negative headache for Erik ten Hag. But yeah, obviously, someone's got to be fit between Martial or Hojlund. Someone managed to get fit by next week, please.
Well, Tad here, good to see you, mate. But it brings up the point here. Conflicting media reports about Hojlund's injury. Some state he's injured, other state he's... Yeah, look, at the moment, who knows? It doesn't look like it's a serious injury if he does have some type of knock. But, get to the bottom of fingers crossed he is fit. My gut, and look, I have no information at all, of course, but my gut is he wasn't playing pre-season in regards to securing this move. That's why he hasn't been playing pre-season. A lot of people saying he has been playing because he's been injured. Who knows? Fingers crossed he is fit and available. We're going to need him, no doubt about that. SJ, good to see you. Good evening, lads. Haven't joined since the end of last season. Hope all is well. Hope you've enjoyed the break. It has been a quick break, though, so definitely good to have you back, mate. And, Larry, before the football, just the unveiling. Manchester United, I personally love it, but Manchester United love it these days. And on-pitch unveiling at Old Trafford. Look, it gets the fans on side. Look, it's a great marketing sort of strategy, no doubt. I fall for it every time. And I think Rasmus Hojlund, in regards to, we do know he's a Manchester United fan, he's a young kid. And I think, look, I wouldn't say he got emotional on the pitch when he walked out, but you could tell he thought, oh, geez, I have arrived where I want to be now.
He's all of us on the football pitch. I was buzzing for him. You could see it. He loved it. And that's what you want to see. You know, I hope he kills it. I really do.
Do you think people writing him off will help him with Manchester United? And look, when Anthony Martial, I know it's sort of soured with Anthony Martial's situation, but when he came in, all the headlines, what a waste of money. The fans gravitated towards him. The fans gave him even more support. I think as Hojlund will be such an easy target for the media when you compare him to Erling Haaland and 9 goals in Serie A sort of thing. The price tag, I think fans will actually warm even more so to Hojlund.
I think the fans will get behind.
We'll be doing plenty of that this season.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a tongue tie. I think fans will get behind Hojlund at Old Trafford. The concern's going to be online. It always is online. And it's just that when he doesn't score, because I think that will happen, because he's a kid, right? If he has a frustrating game, if he misses a sitter from 5 yards out, just take it easy on him. He's 20 years old. He's got lots of football ahead of him. And that's the thing. Young players aren't the finished product. And that's what comes with it. But it's difficult. Like, what's a successful season for him? I've come on here and I've said if he scores 10 goals, that's a good season for his age. And anything beyond that, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But we got to be patient with him because he's a young player. He's still working on his own game. And if he doesn't hit on all cylinders, that's okay. We got to ride it out.
Yeah, no doubt. There'll definitely be patience from us, and I'm sure people in the live chat as well. So if you are with us, do let us know your thoughts on just individual performances. We'll sort of dissect it a little bit as we go. But the first one, I've never been so glad for a Manchester United goalkeeper to be chipped from halfway. As soon as we lost the ball and the Lens player had a shot, I said, I'm a sick individual, but I thought, please go in. Just for the sake of, I'd rather have it now. Because I said, as soon as the De Gea rumours that he was going to leave, I said, our next goalkeeper is going to make a clanger in his first game at Old Trafford. I said, it's nailed on. I didn't think the first game at Old Trafford would be a pre-season match, so thank God it is. But this was always going to happen. And unfortunately, probably going to happen once or twice throughout the season. It's unfortunately going to cost us points. So it's not to be critical of Onana because he'll give us many pros, and with those pros come some cons. This is just always going to happen. So I'm glad it's happened now compared to next Monday night. Yeah,
and look, I think United are still going to get used to the way Onana plays, and that's going to take a little bit of time. I didn't think Onana had his best game. I've actually thought the best component of Onana's game was his shot stopping, ironically, because obviously everyone's focusing on the distribution element of the game, but his shot stopping was good, and fundamentally, that's what a goalkeeper needs to be good at. And that's actually what I was pleased with. I actually thought his distribution was quite poor today, if I'm being honest. He's attempting things.
I wouldn't say poor. I just think the game at the moment, this is not critical or praising him. It's just teams aren't really sort of, you talk about Manchester United's pressing. I don't think teams are sort of really pressing Onana and much. They did press in stages, but it wasn't really, we haven't seen the best of Onana's playing out in terms of, I'd say 80% of Onana's passing today, David De Gea or Tom Heaton are doing. Like it's not that transformation yet we haven't seen because just simply how teams are setting up against us.
Absolutely. Tad Bakes brings up a good question here around Dalot. Yeah. You've been you've been quite firm in your position of you think Diogo Dalot's more of Ten Hag's prototype of right back. What did you make of Dalot's performance today?
A bit of Dalot. I think a bit of good, bit of bad. I think ultimately, I think if Erik Ten Hag has his way and Dalot is performing well, I think he chooses Dalot over Wan-Bissaka. And that's where I do think that the future is. At the moment, I think Wan-Bissaka should be first choice in regards to performances when you compare the two. I just think if Erik Ten Hag, I think it's why he's maybe given Dalot one or two more opportunities this preseason, especially in this so-called strongest 11 in regards to a bit of an audition for Wolves. I think he wants Dalot to find that form. At the moment, if as I said, if you're playing against Wolves or a cup final tomorrow, you probably go Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But I think Erik Ten Hag wants to get Diogo Dalot in a little bit of good form because I do think he was playing as a central midfielder pretty much today. Pretty much, Luke Shaw kept left back a little bit, but Diogo Dalot was pretty much playing number 6. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka has shown a versatility and improvement in his game to try and do that as well. I just think naturally that suits Diogo Dalot a little bit more. In regards to the mistake, Onana will be the one clipped up. Onana will be sort of the one that's memed. It's Diogo Dalot's fault, or it's his error that sort of leads to it. However, I would say that in every other player on the pitch made that pass today as well. Every other player made the pass or misplaced a pass. It's just this one ended up in the back of the net. So I'm just thinking, it's Diogo Dalot's fault, but I don't think it's this no, you're not doing it. I know no one in the chat is doing it, but in terms of crucifying him for it, I think it's one of those ones that I think there does need to be a bit of a balance. We can point the finger at Diogo Dalot. I think that's right to do so for this goal, but Onana also has to be aware. Well, he's not playing behind sort of prime Barcelona. He's got to be aware sometimes that we are going to misplace passes. So how far should he be? Like, what's the benefit of him being 20 yards out rather than 15? Like, he needs to find a balance that well, hang on. Do you know what I mean? He can't just think that we're never going to lose the ball. He needs to be aware. There needs to be a happy medium. I'm not criticizing him for this, but there needs to be. He can't be playing too high. Like, press high.
I take your point, but I don't look. I think there will need to be a balance that's right, and a balance, a time for the game. But I can't. That's all Diogo Dalot's fault. It was lazy. He didn't look. He misplaced his pass. It was. Poor.
But if this happened another, because this will happen again, he's going to get chipped, unfortunately, and he's going to give us many sort of positives, which will counteract it, no doubt. But there's just got to be a balance where you do have to. What positive? What benefit? This is not criticizing him at all, but what positive was him being in that position when we had the ball in that area of the pitch? Like, there was no.
Yeah, I take that point, but just on the low. I don't know. There's something. I like his attitude. I think he works hard. Everything you hear about him is good lad, works hard, puts in extras outside of regular training regimes. I don't think he's a United quality player. I just don't. I've always thought it. I continue to think it, and until he does something that suggests otherwise, that's just my position. I think he's solid. He doesn't scream starting 11 right back for Manchester United for me. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka has made more. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, to be honest, Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't really yell that out to me either. But between the two of them, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is yelling it louder than Dalot is. And I feel like it's been that way for a little while, to be honest.
I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the eye in terms of when we watch it in terms of a visible impact, it definitely probably looks a little bit better. But as I said, and going back to my view of what Erik ten Hag wants, I think from the collective, I think
Wan-Bissaka in the Madrid game, though, he looked good with the ball.
Oh, no, he's improved out of sight, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's shown sort of bows to his game that I didn't think he had. And that's a huge praise I have of him in terms of he's shown me things and improving every week. So nothing but praise for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I just think from the collective in regards to fitting a jigsaw piece together, I think Erik ten Hag maybe sees a little bit of a brighter future under Diogo Dalot. But in saying that, Dalot's going to have to repay that faith and actually perform when he's given the chance. If he doesn't, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has shown he can fit right in. Prem, good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. He's like me, probably as pleased as anyone as this Onana match or the Onana chip happened before the Wolves game. But other than that, I thought Onana was good. Just one of those ones. I thought really nothing to. So one or two sort of good stops, nothing that sort of to write home about. But did his job well, and I think we'll be better off for the first appearance at Old Trafford. But moving further forward up the pitch, Larry, we've gone Diogo Dalot. The other defenders, Varane, I thought Lisandro Martinez again was quite good today. I think he's probably been our best player in pre-season.
He almost looked like he was playing in the six. The way United set up when Onana has the ball is fascinating.
I think he's the player. It's not Onana. I think he's playing out from the back. I think it's Lisandro Martinez. I think he's the key in how we're playing.
He is. You're absolutely right. But I don't think... So in possession, it almost looks like Luke Shaw becomes the centre-back and Varane are Shaw and Varane are the centre-backs when Onana has the ball. And it seems to be Martinez who's playing the six. He's the one with the back to goal and expected to, get out of those tight situations and distribute. And if you actually look at the way that they were lining up, Varane and Shaw are definitely deeper than Martinez in possession, at least when Onana has the ball. And then once the ball progresses beyond the pitch, Martinez assumes a more natural central defensive position. But I find that fascinating. And I like it, though, because I think Martinez with the ball, he's brilliant, obviously. Would it be fair to say he's probably our most technically brilliant player? He'd be close to it.
Oh, no, look, I wouldn't say that. I'll put, and we'll get into this guy in a little bit in regards to Mason Mount. I think your attacking number 10 is Mason Mount, Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes are better on the ball than Lisandro. And that's not to criticise Martinez. He's a defender.
Better on
in terms of technical ability.
Sorry. Technical ability is probably the wrong term. I mean to say, like, back to goal.
Composure in certain areas.
Number 6.
Composure in certain areas where he's picking up the ball in terms of his 6-yard box and sort of the comfortable nature to bring the ball down and play the right pass. No doubt, and that's a huge trait. You look at Marcus Rashford in terms of ability, all the ability in the world. Would you back him to make the correct pass inside his own 6-yard box when players are pressing him? Probably not. So it's definitely how you do value those. Question here, Larry, from SJ. I think so. There is a case. Maybe throw Wan-Bissaka in. No doubt. I think it probably is. We'll get into Garnacho. I think Garnacho did enough to keep his spot. The interesting bit is obviously Hojlund and Rashford. But I'm assuming Hojlund won't be ready. But just starting lineup for Wolves, do you think it was definitely an audition for that? And I think individually, again, there's probably a valid case for Wan-Bissaka maybe to come in over Diogo Dalot.
But I think Wan-Bissaka will start, and I think Sancho's looked sharp, but clearly hasn't done enough. Look, we haven't spoken about Garnacho yet. He was brilliant today.
Yeah,
really good. Garnacho's a better winger than Sancho is at the moment. Facts, right? Based on who's available, I think so. The only swap I would make would be I'd put Aaron Wan-Bissaka in for Dalot. Everyone else, 100%.
One person who is breathing a sigh of relief in regards to the criticism that will be directed online and getting clipped up and memed, Mason Mount. He's happy Onana's going to be copping the flack as Mason Mount missed a bit of a sitter. I don't know. I didn't see the replay. My hunch is maybe it was a little bit behind him. I'm not sure. But regardless, you obviously got to do a little bit better. So unfortunately, he didn't get the goal. And I'm sure that is trending on Twitter as we speak. But Mason Mount, as I've said, with Mason Mount, I'm sure he's getting sort of pelters online and we're sort of going to dissect his performance. I'm happy from what I'm seeing defensively. Maybe he should score a goal. Maybe he can get on the ball and do this more or pass the ball or shoot more and all these things. It's defensively in regards to, I always go back to our downfalls in our midfield last season and what we could improve upon and what Erik ten Hag maybe wanted a little bit more. And I just pictured Christian Eriksen and Mason Mount having the same performance today and just thinking, what did Mason Mount do different to Christian Eriksen? And it was the energy in defence. And I think Erik ten Hag will be sort of quietly very pleased with what he's seen from Mason Mount.
Yeah, he'll grow into the season, I think. Hasn't been okay, like better than average, but he hasn't really had a game yet where I'm like, I can see, you know what I mean? But I think as the season goes on, Mason Mount will definitely find his role in the team. But you can see it, like the ability's there. He looks great. And I think United as a whole, just look at the way United play with the ball now, because you've got Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes, and you've got attack from both sides of the pitch. Every player looks more dangerous because of what Mason Mount has added to the team.
For me, the biggest add into the team is simply defensive in regards to the energy, because suddenly it's infectious. Pressing is infectious, and if you have one player goes, well, the person next, I've got to go now, otherwise I'm not doing my job. And if Mason Mount's always 100 mile an hour, the players next to him are going to have to be 100 mile an hour. And it's simply that's sort of how it works. Like it's always sort of almost set from the front. If your front man isn't pressing, everyone says, well, I can't go if he's not going. So sort of everyone's not really pressing. But if you've got players who are always on the go, always ready to close, you've got Anthony, you've got Garnacho, Marcus Rashford has lifted his work rate in recent times, and then you've got Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. You open this podcast in regards to talking about the pressing, and I think it is the biggest difference. And I'm not going to put all down to Mason Mount, but it might be. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think Onana obviously helps with that too. He allows United to play that further higher up the pitch. Can I say for Anthony's goal, like I said earlier, I think Garnacho, he was so close to screwing that up that it's hilarious. It was an awful first touch.
It was very good by Garnacho. I thought when Rashford was making it, I thought, don't play Rashford. The pass is Anthony. I thought he's going to play Rashford. So I'm Garnacho to get his head up and the ability and composure to play the right pass.
Yeah.
Very good by Garnacho.
Nearly screwed it. I'm a bit, again, I don't want to come on here and be negative. We got a good result. Anthony worries me. I liked his ball for Rashford, though, by the way. It was brilliant. Good ball. But he just the play breaks down every time he gets it, and that's frustrating.
It breaks down for us? Does it break down for Erik ten Hag?
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
I don't think so. I think Erik ten Hag loves him. I think, especially as I said, I'll go back to Mason Mount defensively for me. in regards
Your
to, I
winger's
think.
got to do more. Your winger's not in the team to work hard.
But you said that, Larry, an assist and a goal. Like, you talk about effectiveness. So I think you talk, and this is not the way we view football. Everyone views it differently. There's no right or wrong way. But your effectiveness, and I see and I agree with large parts in terms of the way you play and how you contribute to the way your team plays and how effective that is, which I agree with all your sentiments there. But I can also look at the facts, and he's got a goal and got an assist. That's a hell of effectiveness.
It is effective, but it's effective against Lens. Will that be effective against
The
Wolves?
commentator said they were 1 point off PSG last season in the French league. I think to say that's
Yeah,
PSG.
they were, but I don't know if that's really saying much.
Well, what's it saying about PSG? If we're playing against PSG and he got a goal and assist,
Yeah, well, if we verse PSG, then that's different.
well, we'll see when we get him in the Champions League at some stage. I'm not sure, would we potentially be able to get PSG in the group? I think probably. They're French champions. We weren't. So who knows? Mbappe, who will Mbappe be lining up for? Definitely not United. We'll get in a Harry Kane discussion.
But can we, Garnacho, so good.
Yeah.
I think all eyes have been on Hojlund.
I don't know why he got
exciting shiny thing, but
I don't know why he was so. And this is a good thing. It benefited United. He was so isolated. He was so free on the left-hand side. And we found him so often, and he was isolated with that fullback. And I thought the fullback dealt with him relatively well, but Garnacho had the better of him. And I'm just thinking, yeah, the Lens could have changed things a little bit and shifted over to the right side a little bit and sort of nullified him a little bit. But we were finding Garnacho, Bruno, and Casemiro multiple times in the first half. It was almost like, remember when we used to have Marcus Rashford out there, get the ball, pinging him behind a Marcus Rashford. It was almost a Garnacho. And quality-wise with Garnacho, 9 times out of 10, he was making the right decision. Sometimes a deflected shot here or there, but ultimately, a very good performance.
Yeah, no, it was a good performance. You know what I like about Garnacho? There's nothing he does that is spectacular. He just does the simple things really well. And that's really all you need to do. If I look at one of the best players in world football over the last 15 years, Lionel Messi. Messi didn't do all the tricks and skills that Ronaldo did. But what Messi did was the simple things really well. Really good close control, knew how to beat a player. If a player planted one foot, he'd know how to go the other way. Football doesn't have to be all tricks and flicks. If you're a winger, particularly, all you got to do, your job is to go at players and get them in two minds. And all you got to do, once you got that 50-50 chance, you catch them off guard, find your man, make the run in behind, or just go for it yourself. And he does that really well, and credit to him. And I got to say, I think you made a good point around Garnacho being quite free. I think Rashford, as we saw with the goal from Anthony, I think Rashford's pace really had those defenders worried, and I think they were trying to overcompensate.
Well, it goes in my next point. Prem brings it up, but just SJ here, loving Garnacho. Still think he's more fitting for the number 7 shirt over Mason Mount. A lot of people agree with that. I disagree. Well, it's a hard one. 50-50. Today, I agree. Yesterday, I disagreed. So I think it's one of those ones. But I think Mason Mount, I think it's almost good that he's kind of just having a 6 out of 10 preseason. I think a lot of people now discussing Hojlund, Onana, they're almost forgetting the Mason Mount thing in regards to the shirt number, which will probably help him. But he definitely does need a goal. Fingers crossed that can come against Wolves. But this question or statement here from Param, Larry, we're going to be so electric on the break this season. So add Marcus Rashford's pace in behind, add Jadon Sancho in full flight, Anthony, Garnacho, etc. Then obviously the main man up front, Rasmus Hojlund. So where's your main excitement in regards to football this season? Is it Onana being able to help us play out from the back and play a little bit higher? Is it a little bit more quality in midfield? Or is it literally the pace we have in behind in regards to Hojlund, Garnacho, Rashford, etc.? Which is the part you're most looking forward to? Because they're all kind of different.
Absolutely. The most exciting thing is I think United will have the ability to play 2 different kinds of football in one football match. And that's the most exciting thing. Because if I think back to last season, our strongest 11 probably had Christian Eriksen in it. And for that reason, I thought United could dominate the ball against most teams, but could get out-enthused or out-energized against some of those teams. And then particularly against the bigger sides, we really struggled because we didn't have the energy in midfield to really go toe-to-toe. So United found themselves playing this weird kind of trying to hit him on the transition, but it didn't quite work. What I like about this season with all the signings, and that's what I love about this transfer window. Every signing, you can see how they evolve the way United play. And I think United are going to be able to dominate possession first and foremost, But with the players we've now got, you could see United being able to counter teams who want to press us. Because if we win the ball in the middle of the pitch because we're pressing higher, it's going to give United naturally counter-attacking opportunities and transition opportunities that we probably didn't see last season. And that's exciting. I think we're going to score a lot more goals from forced errors than we did last season.
See, I don't look. I completely agree. I don't think teams will approach. I don't think they'll press us at all. I think for the first half of the season, we won't see the benefit of Onana. I think when teams get more comfortable and maybe suss United out a little bit, maybe we'll press a little bit higher. But with that threat in behind of Hojlund, with Rashford, with the almost no point in pressing Onana and Lisandro Martinez because they're going to play through you anyway. I think teams are going to sit quite deep against us. And yes, we've maybe got a little bit more quality now with Mason Mount. And Bruno Fernandes and maybe target man in terms of sort of occupying those central defenders in Rasmus Hojlund. But I think teams are really going to sit off United. And over the past 10 years, now this is a different team compared to the last 10 years. But the last 10 years, that is something Man United have struggled with week in, week out.
Yeah, you're right. And your teams will sit back against United. But even teams that sit back try and counter. They have to get forward at some point. And that's the thing. I think if even in those situations, I think United now have the ability to transition very quickly. Even if we're the team that's in the ascendancy, sitting high up the pitch, if we manage to get the ball back off another team's counterattack, I think United could almost counter the counterattack. And I think that's the most exciting attack.
Well, a counterattack, a lot of people think counterattack, especially with Manchester United. You think a length of the field run down the wing, okay, whip across in. It can be just a simple transition in regards to very high up the pitch. It's just it can be a 2-yard counter attack sort of thing. So look,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, mate, but I think the biggest benefit you'll see out of all the signings we've made, I think United will go away to a big team this season and get a good result that we were struggling to get last season. I don't know who it will be. Arsenal, Liverpool, City.
Liverpool,
we'll
please.
Get a bigger way. We'll get a bigger way.
I don't know the last one we won at Anfield. It might have been Wayne Rooney and Van Haal's last season, potentially.
It would have been. Yeah, it would have been.
Jesus. Yep. So for me, it has to be Anfield. It brings up to my last point of tonight's show. And in the chat, let us know what you're thinking is in regards to Amrabat. In regards to one more signing, Larry. Look, we don't know what's going to happen on deadline day. Look, I'm sure Harry Kane's name is going to pop up on deadline day if he's not playing in the Bundesliga by then. But Amrabat is the name at the moment. If there is to be a new sign, it potentially is going to be him. And he is someone in terms of when we're drawing up our potential 11s. He is one away at the Etihad or away at the Emirates. Okay, throw Amrabat in instead of Mason Mount, be a little bit more solid and maybe a little bit sort of quicker in the transition. Amrabat at the moment, throw him into that, not even first team, but just into the team, into the squad. Do you think it happens? Do you want it to happen? Just your latest feelings in and around it.
I want it to happen. I think he improves the squad, absolutely. And I think there's a case where he can definitely push for a starting 11 spot regularly. If you're Mason Mount, if you're Bruno, maybe not Bruno, but I think if you're between Casemiro and Mason Mount, because I'd say they're your more deeper lying midfielders, I think he absolutely can give either of those players a day off. And like we were just talking about, that when we're versing the likes of Liverpool, I think if you can bring Amrabat in, and like we saw at times last season, like Bruno playing wide, for example, if you've got a midfield base of Casemiro, Amrabat, and then you can play Mason Mount in the 10 and Bruno on the right, that's fantastic. That's a great pressing, high energy midfield that can keep the ball. So I think he'd be a really good signing, and he's, like we've said before, I think he's an upgrade on anything we've got at the moment. He's an upgrade on McTominay. He's an upgrade on Fred for me.
Yeah, look, I'm starting to warm to the idea of signing him. As I said, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was sort of welcome the signing, but 1 or 2 more pressing issues. But now that Hojlund is over the line, and look, Fred's obviously not part of the plans. He's fit, but he's simply not at Carrington. He's not trained. He's not involved. Scott McTominay has picked up potentially a little bit of a knock. His future is still potentially away from Old Trafford. Who knows? And Donny van der Beek.
McTominay is always quietly injured, isn't he?
It's picked up 1 or 2, in the last year. Definitely, and it was one of his sort of strong points. We talked about Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. The best ability is availability, and they always had that. But yeah, Scott McTominay in the last year has picked up 1 or 2 injuries in sort of key moments. So when there's a potential, maybe Fred was dropping off a little bit. Okay, McTominay could get his chance, but never quite got that through his injury. So maybe that is something Erik ten Hag is potentially sort of eyeing up in terms of there's talks about West Ham
Has
and medicals.
Arsenal doctor started yet? Do we know?
Yeah, not sure when all that's happening. Arsenal, I just seen Arsenal. They had a game against Monaco the other day, I believe. But Arsenal do kick off this. Actually, no, Manchester City kick off the season against Burnley. Arsenal play Forest. The lunchtime kick-off on Saturday. But Larry, before we do wrap up, is there anything else, whether it be an individual performance or signing or anything else around Man United today that's worthy of attention?
I liked Rashford's performance. That was the sharpest Rashford's looked. I like.
Look, the match finished 20 minutes ago. I can't really remember I remember the goals and everything and the sort of the highlights, but I can't remember the actual performance. I'm not saying it was bad or good. It just didn't catch my eye.
He's my positive note to hang on to, and the reason I say that is he showed he'll still be a goal threat this season.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. His goal to the finish was brilliant. It wasn't easy. It was across his body, and he got it into the far left corner. That's not an easy finish. That is not an easy finish. And I thought his header to go up in a set piece. He's a set piece threat. Who would have thought that of Marcus Rashford 12 months ago?
I just thought that, but look, and we know this from what we have seen on YouTube and all the photos. But Hojlund, he's a big guy. Okay, he's not Erling Haaland big, but my God, Hojlund, he's going to be a physical presence for Man United.
Is he 6'1", 6'3", or like what's his height?
I think the commentator said 6'3". Whether that's accurate or not, I'm not sure. But he just looks like he'll be a bit of a threat in regards to, especially when he gets moving, especially sort of running it on the ground. He does look like a bit of a motor behind him. So.
How tall? Haaland can't be much taller than that.
Oh, no, Haaland's tall. No, Haaland. Well, not that Hojlund's not tall, but Erling Haaland is a bloody giant.
He's 3 centimeters taller.
Yeah. Well, good on him. Must be something in Scandinavia, but
they're giants.
Yeah, big boys. It's good to have. Look, it's good to have. And look, I know nothing about Hojlund in regards to what he's going to give us throughout a 90-minute performance. But from what I did see in our 90-minute performance, if we had a centre forward and maybe freed up the likes of Marcus Rashford in wide areas more often, and have that focal point who sort of his gut instinct is to get in the box and score goals, I think that's only going to benefit Manchester United. And not that, but in terms of where I talk about my sort of positives around Mason Mount, it's defensively. I think, he's not brought in for his defensive work in the number 9 position, but I think it's so pivotal for Erik ten Hag in regards to the way we want to play. I think if you put him defensively in that number 9 position, we are winning the ball in far more dangerous areas than what we currently are. And we're winning the ball in dangerous areas now. And I think if we can improve upon that, we improve upon where we're playing on the field, and definitely increase your chances of winning. And that's, Larry, all we need, all we want is Manchester United winning football matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Hojlund gives me a Solskjaer feeling. I don't know what it is.
I just thought, in terms of his haircut when he's walking out there, it just had a vibe. Like if you just put a lesser quality camera on the screen, it looked like he was like a Scandinavian signed in the mid-90s. Like in terms of the jacket he's wearing, the hairstyle, I just thought he looks like he should be holding up like an Umbro kid, like standing next to like Karol Pavorsky and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ronnie Johnson. Sort of thing when they used to have those sort of group photos of the new signings. He definitely looked like he could fit in then. But it is good to see even Alan Keegan sort of said in terms of when he was being unveiled, walking on the pitch, he said a lifelong Manchester United fan. And look, ultimately that's living everyone's dream, living our dream. There's nothing more we do sort of fall in love with the likes of Marcus Rashford and sort of these youth products who do come through, especially the local lads. But not every Manchester United fan is a local lad. Some of them are like us and from overseas. And whether you be from Manchester, Sydney or Oslo, I'm sure maybe that's lazy to say he's from Oslo. I'm sure he's from somewhere in... Actually, no, Oslo's Norway, isn't he? I'm thinking of Erling Haaland. From Denmark, let's say he's from Copenhagen. I'm not sure where he's from, but wherever you're from, seeing a Manchester United fan represent United, it does give you a little bit of that bit more sort of energy behind that player.
100%, and I hope he kills it, and I think he will. But like I said, just be patient with him. He's 20 years of age. When he misses a 5-yarder, because I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm watching Anthony do it every second week. So if Anthony can do it, then let's give this kid a chance. But I think he'll be good for United, and I think the impact he'll have, whether that's goals or just simply giving an option, he'll give space to Rashford. That alone is worth its weight in gold. Rashford had a bit of play where, sorry, Tom, I know you're trying to wrap up, but I just want to make this final point. Rashford, there was a point where the ball went to the left, and Rashford's just playing with a different level of confidence. He did all the. It looked like Ronaldo on the left for a moment there. If you can think of where in the game where it happened.
Look, I can't remember it, but you just look just naturally just to the mental aspect of it now. Now, look, Marcus Rashford's a confident guy. He's got all the money in the world. He's living the dream. But he has just signed a big money contract at Manchester United. His status, like he must be going on that field. Not in a look. He does have a bit of an, and this not to criticise him. He does have a bit of an ego on him, Marcus Rashford, but in a good way. I think for the most part.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think in a very good way. But that ego now, again, not to be critical, but must be now through the absolute roof. And the fingers crossed that is a positive. But he's gone out there now as Manchester United. Would he be our biggest earner now that David De Gea has left?
I would say so.
Let's put him in that category. That's got to give you some type of confidence when you're on the field.
Yeah.
So it's got to be some type of confidence on the field. And if that exudes good performances, that's only good.
And he's still only 25 years of age. I mean, if his best years are ahead of him, really. And by the end of this contract, he could potentially be in line to earn an even bigger contract. So, the world's at his feet. And it's up to him. I think the challenge for Rashford, he said some very bold comments with Gary Neville, where he said that he was injured toward the back end of last season, and the goals dried up because of that. And he himself said, "Oh well, if that didn't happen, I think I could have pushed for 40 goals." I love the confidence, but he's got to back it up now.
Yeah, definitely. And look, we have faith. While we're both been sort of had many questions over Marcus Rashford, we do both love him to death and have a lot of faith in him sort of kicking on with his career. And
he's won the number 10 shirt for 5 years.
I've seen that pop up. I thought it was 2 years. I thought it was 3 years. That time does fly, but yeah. Fingers crossed. Look, he has won a trophy now in that number 10 shirt. Obviously, last season scoring in the cup final at Wembley against Newcastle.
The first season he wore the number 10 shirt, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge.
The 10, was it not under Mourinho?
I think so.
Might have been the season Mourinho got sacked. Solskjaer came in. That whole season I'll get mixed up on what was what. The penalty against PSG, he wore number 10. That was Solskjaer's interim period.
Oh, you're right. But Solskjaer was there.
Yeah, Solskjaer was in it. Yeah. So Solskjaer, that's still Solskjaer's first season for me. Yeah, time does fly, but look, fingers crossed. Hopefully, in 5 years, he's got 3 Premier League trophies to his name, and in closing in on Wayne Rooney's goal scoring record. But look, it has been a pleasure. Late on a Saturday night, I say Saturday night, Sunday morning now in Sydney. So if you have stayed with us wherever you are in the world, please do leave a like on the video. They're very much appreciated. Hit subscribe so you are notified when we do go live. Hopefully, positive news around maybe another sign-in here or there. But Manchester United playing about 24 hours again, Larry. A new team. That is on a Monday. That's unfortunately about 1 a.m. So probably not watching that one live, but we'll definitely bring you a review. So hit that subscribe button. And Larry, pleasure as always, mate. And I'll chat to you and everyone in the live chat in a bit.
Cheers to you. Cheers to those in the comments. Have a good night. Cheers.
Have a good one.